Hey everyone, and welcome to this next tutorial on SolidWorks Basics for Beginners. Tonight we are recording a tutorial on configurations. I have the perfect example of a product to use for this tutorial, which is here. This is the King Chrome ballpoint hex key set with 9 pieces. Now, King Chrome is an Australian brand. Now, the reason for this is I'm upgrading my workshop tools. I had a big mix and match pile of Allen keys to replace, so I've gone out and spent $50 on a nice set here that I will keep for a very long time and design with a Gridfinity base to hold it in my workshop. So the rest of those videos will be edited and coming out soon. Okay, a bit of a larger series on the workshop configurations. But this project here, this is going to be a little standalone demo on how you can use configurations when modeling a product such as this. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so let me try to explain what configurations are with reference to a product. And the product I'm going to use is the one that we're going to be modeling today, this hex key. Okay, now the hex key itself is not complicated in its design. It is a hexagon shape, or we could call that a profile, swept along a path to an endpoint. And then on the endpoint, in this design, there is a nifty little ball feature. Now, doing one hex key on its own, fine. You don't have to use configurations. But where the real saving is, the real time saving is when you have to design a 9-piece set and they all share similar characteristics but have slight differences to dimensions or some of the features. This is a perfect example for where you can use configurations. Configurations will allow you to retain shared details between features, sketches, dimensions, reuse certain aspects, but then change the length of an Allen key when you have a small or a large version. So there are many other places where you can use configurations. I use them regularly in Assemblies, where I'm looking at how products that I'm designing will fit with some other existing products. I can have just one assembly that shows everything with configurations. And then I can use those configurations into drawings. So configurations into drawings is also another thing. We have done a very simple demo on this feature, which I'll link here in a card in our Pulley project. Should we start on the large end or the small end? Or maybe even one in the middle? Let's start in one in the middle. I'm going to use the M5. Now, I've gone for the metric sizes here. Okay, please forgive me if you're not using metric. Now, I do have from the box instruction card here, or info card, which has the sizes of each of these hex keys. And I'm going to be referring to this with what I'm sketching on the screen. So we're starting with M5, and it says M5 is by 28 by 160 millimeters. So let's do this on the front plane, and I'm going to create a sketch, very simple sketch, straight up and to the left. And I'm going to dimension it 160 by 28 millimeters. So 160 and 28 millimeters. Okay. Now, one thing that we don't know from these dimensions is the radius here. So I'm going to measure it. I'm going to use my calipers here, and I'm going to line them up with the center point of the hex, and I want to find where that radius turns into a flat, so where it's tangent with the straight edge. Now, it's not perfect, okay, but it doesn't need to be. This is just a tutorial. Now, I reckon it's around about 8 millimeters. Could be 9, could be 10. I'm just going to use 8. So I'm going to put a fillet in there for 8 millimeters. Now, this is my sketch, okay? Sketch 1. My next sketch will be on the end plane. I could do it on the top plane. Let's do that. We'll do it on the top plane because it's already there. It's already connected. And this is going to be our hexagon. So I'm going to use the hexagon tool. Now, if I'm looking down the line at my hex key, I can see that the horizontal faces or the vertical faces are, let's say, going upright. So it's like this as it goes along the sweep. So that's going to be in line. And what did I say? This was M5, which means this diameter is 5. All right. Now we're going to do a sweep. I'm going to select these two sketches and go to Features, Sweep, press OK. All right. Now we're going to add a few more details because they're pretty easy to add with this kind of model. We're going to first add this little tip on the end, this silver tip, and I'm going to measure it from the end point, and it is 9.5. And how I'm going to create it is with a split line. So I just sketch a line, a dimension, and I'm doing a split line and selecting these faces here. Now, once I've split them, what that lets me do is change the appearance of the end face. Okay. Now, there is also a nice little hex cut detail on the edge that you'll often see on nuts and bolts. So it is a revolved cut. I'm going to show you how to do that here as well. So we're going to go, I think we do this on the front plane, and I think what we do is a cut like this, where we put a center line in, make that for construction. We dimension that top. Now, I'm not going to dimension this. I'm just going to get it close. Sorry, I'm not going to measure it. I'm just going to use that, what's there. I'm going to suggest that this is a 45-degree cut. So we've created this profile, and then we're going to do a cut revolve. And we can see how it's going to cut away a little bit of material, but leave a circle on the top face. Yeah? Okay. Now, I think in reality, it's a tiny bit smaller than this. So I'm just going to change that dimension, just tweak it ever so slightly, 4.7. All right, that looks fine. The hex itself probably has the edges taken off because it's got a coating on it. Okay, it doesn't feel sharp. I'm not going to worry about putting that detail in. What I will do is just add an appearance. It's kind of painted. It's not gloss though. It is a bit more like a powder coat. So I'm going to apply a powder coat to the part, just edit the color to the blue that it looks like. Now that's applied to the whole part. On this end face, it looks like a polished, what is it? It is a steel, chrome plated on the ends. So metal, chrome plate. I'm going to apply it to this face. I'm going to apply it then to all of these other faces. And if we go to real view, it's going to give us a nice sort of shine, a nice bit of blue. Okay, cool. Now, while we're at that, save. Good time to save. Kin Chrome, X key set. Okay, so that part is saved. Now we're going to do also the little detail on the other end, which is a little ball joint. These little ball joints on the hex key enable you to insert it at an angle that is not perfectly parallel or perpendicular to the hole or plane that you're inserting into. Just gives you a little bit more use. Now, this detail for this project is not crucial, but I'd like to get it in there. So we'll just see if we can quickly work out how it looks and recreate it here. So it still has the 6 sides, but those sides now have a fillet. And they have an area that has been cut in. So the cut in area starts at 6 millimeters off the bottom. So we're going to select this profile here, do an extruded cut. We're going to offset that 6 millimeters, and the cut goes for about 2.8 millimeters, and it cuts in, right? So how can we do this? Maybe with a thin feature, and we want to draft it outwards, and then we're going to guess here. We'll try and measure, but it's pretty small. It's getting to 3.8. So let's go like 10 degrees. Press OK and see how that looks. I said 3.8. That's 4. So if we try it again, change the angle to something a bit less, or a bit more, sorry. Maybe it's 12. Then from this line to this line, we've got 3.8. Perfect. Now that might not be the same for each of these hex keys in the configuration, but we get it right once. It'll be easier to change later and to update later. This color is a bit dark. Let's bump that up a little bit. All right, next, now we have to do these little curves on the bottom, and it really just looks like a fillet that's going around. So the length here is 3.2. So if I do a 1.6 fillet, what does that look like? And I want to do that on each edge. Is it going to work or not work? That looks to work. And what's it going to do if I select all the bottom edges as well? Which I could do by selecting the face. That looks pretty good. I think so. I don't know if the camera will quite get that detail, but here I'll just do a little recording so you can see how that looks and the shape that we've kind of recreated here. Okay, that's very nice. there is also again another split line in this area. So we can click on our split line and we're going to add another sketch here. And this one is, say, 12 millimeters from the bottom. We have to select the new faces to split. This may cause us some errors, but we'll update those quickly. No, that's worked. Cool. And now I'm going to copy and paste the chrome plating from the top to the bottom. Yeah. I'm going to select tangency to paste it, and then I'm going to select all of these faces to paste it here. I could paste it onto the feature for some of those. That would work for some, but not everything. This is quick enough. All right, very good. And we are done. So that is the modeling aspect done. Now we can get into the configuration. So first thing, and we're going to stick with basic configurations. We're going to do everything manually. We're not going to do any design tables. We will do that in another demo. So this is the default size. So the configuration tab, you can see it here in our feature tree. Well, sorry, in our sort of property manager to the side here. We have a feature tree here. We have property manager, and then this one is the configuration manager. This is the one that we're going to be using for configurations. Now, in this, if we click on there, we can see we have the default configuration. That is all at the moment. What we're going to do is rename this to the dimensions that we've been given, right? And that is the current configuration. And now we're going to add a new configuration, and we're going to go down in size. So we're going to go down to 4. So we're going to add configuration. Right click, add. Configuration name, 4.0 by 25 by 140 millimeters. I don't need to change anything else. The only other thing to be aware of is in advanced options, this button for suppress features. That can have an impact on how your configurations work when you add or when you're still changing your model, modifying your model. We're not doing that here, so don't need to worry about it. Press OK. All right, now we're in the 4.0 configuration. You can see it's currently active and the 5.0 is inactive. To change configurations, you double click on the configuration you want and that will switch over. When you're making changes to your model, typically you want to be in the active configuration for the one you're wanting to make changes. Okay, so now we want to turn the size of this sweep, which was for the 5mm hex, to the 4mm hex. And to do this, we have to edit first, sketch 1. We're going to change the 28 to 25. So we double click on the dimension, and then you can see this little drop down next to the 28 on the right. Currently this is all configurations, all right? All configurations. When we're working with configurations and changing dimensions inside a sketch, if you want your new dimension to link to that configuration only, then you need to click here and you go change to this configuration. Then you can change your number, press enter, and it will update. Now we also have an updated radius, which I'm going to measure as, actually for this size, it's also going to be 8. So we're leaving that one. And then the height, again, we change to this configuration and that will be 140. All right. So now we can notice a difference. If we go to configurations and we double click on the second one, we can see the size changes and the length. So this one has 25 by 140. This one has 28 by 160. Beautiful. But we haven't changed the actual thickness of the part yet. That is another sketch we need to change. So we need to edit sketch 2. Double click on this dimension, link it to this configuration, then change the dimension, press OK and accept. And now we start to get into some errors. So to fix our errors in configurations, we need to be careful not to delete features, not to delete dimensions, delete any relations, because that will delete it for everything. It'll delete it for all of the configurations. We only want to correct them. We only want to correct the dimensions, usually to link it to the current configuration. Typically, I would advise you to work your way down from the top. In this case, we want to keep that plating dimension the same. And in this example, it is the same. So I'm going to keep that at 9.5. The one at the bottom becomes a bit less, and that's down to 10. So I'm going to edit this sketch here, change this configuration and change that to, actually, no, this one is 12. Just notice which configuration I'm in. I want to go to 4.0, and in this one it becomes 10. All right. So our error is actually in our original configuration. So I need to work out why. Now, could it be that we didn't properly change this dimension here? So for whatever reason, it became 5 in this configuration instead of 4. Let's have another look now. Okay, we want to edit this one, change it. In this configuration, it's going to be 4, 5, 4. Okay. And now we can change this cut revolve. So this cut revolve, we're getting some issues because what was previously a 5mm width with a 4.7 diameter cut no longer works. So in this configuration, this sketch, we need to go to this configuration and we're going to -1. Okay, so that cut revolve now works. At the bottom, we're going to look at that detail, and in this example, we're going to leave that exactly the same. That may change as we go through the different dimensions, as we go through the different configurations. All right, so let's just check both configurations are working, and then we can go on to the next size. That's good. Let's go on. Next one is 3. We're going to add a configuration, 3.0 by 20 by 126. Now, with your configurations in your feature manager tree, you can reorder them. So you can just click and drag, and that will change their position. Now, for this one, if I just, now that we've linked the sketches to this configuration, I think we're able to just click on the number and change it. Let's test it. So if I change 25 to 20, and then I go back, that works. Okay, so once you have done the linking to the configurations, it becomes even easier to edit, even quicker. Okay. Now we had not changed the radius, but we will change it this time. So we do have to edit that one and link it to this configuration that becomes 6.5. And then our hexagon is becoming 3. Our split line at the top is coming down to 8. Did we link it previously? No. All right, so in that example, that one doesn't work yet. I can't just do it. I have to edit the sketch, link it to this configuration, and then change the dimension. My cut revolve, similar thing. -1, bring it in. That's a bit big. It can be 2.8. Oh, didn't like that. Okay, 2.75. At the bottom, now my fillet is getting too big in my cut revolve, and my split here needs to probably change as well. So a split is down to 9mm. My cut extrude, I think the angle needs to reduce. So this one, for a feature change, is different to a sketch. You're not linking it in the sketch, you're linking it inside the feature. So we're going to edit this cut extrude one. Down the bottom under configuration, we're going to select this configuration, and then that means that any of the dimensions that we change will only impact this configuration. So I'm going to reduce the draft, press OK, and we should find that in the other configurations, the draft remained at 12. You can see it here. So what we're going to do is we're also going to reduce the size of the fillet now that the length has reduced here. Okay, so we're going to link that diameter or the radius of that fillet, this configuration. We're going to reduce it until it works. 1.2, it's okay. And we expand out, and what we should start to see now is 3 clear sizes using the same features, okay, but with the differences between each. So there you go. I think I just want to show you how this looks then in an assembly. So we'll just make an assembly from this part file. Now, when you insert a part into an assembly that's got configurations, you click on it, it'll ask you here in the configuration manager. So in the property tree, beginning assembly, select the configuration that you want here, and then you can drag it out onto your screen. The other thing to notice though, when you do click it out on your screen, you can click on that part. This little arrow box here enables you to see all the configurations. If you want to make a change, you can click one and then you have to press the tick and it'll update the configuration. You can also do that by clicking on the part in the feature tree. So click on the part in the feature tree and you can change the configuration there as well. Now what we'll be doing with this assembly, once I model them up and want to put them into a Gridfinity base, I'm going to be doing something like this to position them all, and each one will be the next configuration up, okay? And that will enable me to work out their positions, okay, how best to nest them and position them for cutting out into the 3D print base. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and found something new to enhance your SolidWorks skills. Don't forget to subscribe to Fully Defined for more tutorials, tips and insights from a certified SolidWorks expert. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover, leave a comment below. I read all comments and love hearing your feedback. Remember, with the right skills and tools, you can turn your design dreams into reality. Keep modeling, keep learning, and always fully define.